I'm telling you, man, it was so gnarly, it was righteous.
Oh, you bet. Now it was like, bite me. You can go on your bitchin' sort of, thing. You fucking bogart, don't bogart that, man.
Yeah, but you know what the thing about Gnarly is? Gnarly, he got the bod, but he ain't got the brain.
Oh, bum diggity, man. It's the bomb.
Totally tubular.
Like a tube. It's like that tube that I had. Oh, man.
The date was February 13th. The year was 2018.
Oh, man.
A long time
20
ago,
years from now.
but only if you measure in terms of time. That was my friend and podcast man, Paul Goodman. He was the craziest guy I'd ever hung around with. He didn't have much of a chance in life. Poor son of a bitch. Hey dude, okay. Valentine's Day was grody to the max. What's next, bro?
Oh, it's like some righteous Pixels movie or some shit.
Pixels? Buff me out. An Adam Sandler flick? That's gonna be so not even.
Even? Back your face, you fucking... shit. It's gonna be totally righteous.
What makes you say that, bruh?
Well, they say it's like it's not an Adam Sandler film. It's a righteous action film, and it's got all the cool things that an action film's got.
Action? Like Back to the Future? I can dig that.
Sweet, yeah, you can, because you're a dig man.
All right, dude, let's fucking do it. Yeah.
All right on. 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 All right on.
Paul Goodman watched Pixels on the evening of February 14th, 2018. He went out in the street and ate his own face. He died instantly, eventually. I never had any other podcast men like the ones I had when I was 29. Jesus, does anybody? When the night... Welcome to One Good Thing, the podcast that really fucking struggles with Adam Sandler movies. I'm Paulz.
I'm Paul Goodman.
And today we shall be struggling to find good things about a movie directed by Chris Columbus, produced by and starring Adam Sandler. It's exactly what you expect.
Total and utter starlight experience.
Absolutely. A starlight experience called Pixels, the Pixels Express.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Pixels and Co. Pixels and Son.
Pixels Day Off. Critics correctly hated it. Nigel M. Smith at The Guardian said, Pixels is a casually sexist, awkwardly structured, but bro-centric comedy. The only difference this time is that the state-of-the-art CGI has been added to the mix. I mean, it's something.
I mean, that certainly is something. He's found one good thing.
If you've got to eat a big bucket of sick, might as well have some sprinkles. Bit of colour.
I mean, if there's an undigested bit of mutton in there,
ooh,
you get your teeth around that.
Love it when it's undigested. Yet another critic was permanently broken by an OGT film. This time it's Megan Garber, who wrote for The Atlantic before what her colleagues referred to as the Sandlering. She says, everything is wrong here. Cinematically, creatively, maybe even morally. Because Pixels is one of those bad movies that isn't just casually bad, or shoot the moon bad, or too close to the sun bad, or actually kind of delightfully bad. It is tediously bad. It is bafflingly bad. Its badness seems to come not from failure, in the classic sense, a goal set and unachieved, but from something much worse. Laziness, ambivalence, and a certain strain of cinematic nihilism.
Interesting. Well, she kind of skirted around the moral side of things as well there. She gave the moral side of the film a very short dressing down, but not a real one.
Well, that was the beginning of a roughly 10-page long article.
Okay.
In which she does eventually get around to all of the ways in which this was a loathsome piece of shit.
Okay. I thought that she wasn't going to talk about how it was a loathsome piece of shit.
You know, you submit the review, and then the next day you're out at brunch with Liam Neeson.
Piers Morgan.
Shit, you win. You're out at lunch, and you just think, oh! I thought there was a reason I hated myself. The public incorrectly gave it $250 million, but at least had the good grace to write reviews like these. Angel Ampero, over at IMDb, urges you to ignore the pretentious and pompous film critics. The problem with these so-called film critics, if they can so be called, today is that they're impervious to accepting anything at face value. I believe it got such awful reviews from critics because it starred a lot of big-name actors, and maybe they expected more substance from them. But you have to look at the source material before making those determinations. This is a tongue-in-cheek slapstick comedy that's meant to entertain people, especially those who grew up in the 80s and can relate to the video game evolution nostalgia of that time. If you watched a movie with that mindset, I guarantee you will not be disappointed.
Okay, so
We had the wrong mindset, Paul.
we made the mistake of going into a film with lots of big-name stars like Adam Sandler, Kevin James, Nick Swardson, Alan Covert.
Yeah, and we expected substance. Oh, that substance they bring.
Just like in you know that other film where we did that, The Godfather.
Yeah. Went
Yeah.
in. With this, we expected substance, and what we got was more like a residue.
But that's our problem.
Yeah. Well, it might just be Angela Ampro's problem. You know, let's see what Isaac from USA has to say. Ignore the brainwashed haters who are reviewing this movie without even seeing it. See it on my own responsibility. Satisfaction guaranteed. So we can hold Isaac directly responsible for this. That's what you said.
Full accountability, I appreciate that. You don't get that very often nowadays.
This one from a Professor 7 at IMDb, who
Mary Beard.
who muses in a Mary Beard-esque style. Why such hatred? I don't get it. But remember that critics like these said that Star Wars would flop and that E.T. wouldn't make a dime. Someone brought up Siskel and Ebert and I laughed because they hated both E.T. and Star Wars. Ignore the critics who hate everything and have no fun in life. Go see this movie, don't take it too seriously, and have some fun! Exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. Now, Paul, when was the last time you had fun in life?
Well, I had some yogurt for breakfast, so...
Film critic speaking there. He's got 5 kids. Fucking hates all of them.
No, I can't remember the last time I had fun in life. It's because I watched too many movies. And I've forgotten what that's like.
Yeah, I no longer call the joy of cinema.
They don't make films like that anymore.
I hated them back then too. No.
Oh, they don't make it like Moliere.
They don't make it like R.W. Paul did. He knew how to crank a movie camera.
The train movie, remember that? That was balls.
That was the tits. Oh, man. Speaking of tits, Paul, let's talk Threeman.
Hooray!
Yay! Okay, my embargo on Sandler's kids continues until they are at least old enough to understand the implications of their actions. Jared Sandler, you are pushing it, sir.
They're still minors, so when they become of like prosecutionable age.
Yes. Jared Sandler, that minor age of 21. I'm letting him off this time.
He could be tried as an adult. I say no mercy. Hanging's too good for him.
Alright, fine. Jared Sandler, you are the first of the Sandler siblings to become a Threeman.
Oh, free to remain, free in the bush, free, yo. Films are shit, mate. Yeah.
But on with the show! Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the OGT Threeman bin, Mr. Kevin James!
Free to remain, free in the bush, free, yo.
Come on down! Well deserved, sir.
Oh yeah, you worked so hard. How about an acceptance speech? It's very funny, Kevin James. Really knocked it out of the park there.
Take your place in the Kevin James Memorial booth.
Go and stand under that, that bit of shadow that we've just... The box. Go in the box. Get in the box we wheeled on. Yes, the one marked Barbados.
There are air holes. Shut up.
Yes, there are air holes. Your Majesty.
Fuck me, Kevin James. Oh, what next? We've also got Fiona Shaw, Petunia Dursley herself, who also appeared in Tree of Life, and unfortunately also did The Avengers and Dorian Gray.
Gosh.
Free to remain, free in the bush.
That's a shame.
It is a shame. Do you know what else is a shame, Paul?
What?
Got ourselves some fivemen. The very first fivemen of One Good Thing.
Never heard such a thing.
I know. Please welcome Jonathan Loughran, Nick Svardson, Jackie Sandler, and Adam Sandler.
Of course. It's so obvious now. When you do 5 Adam Sandler films.
It only stands to reason that 5 of them, at least 5 of them, are going to have Adam Sandler in them. So, Paul, you man.
Nerds.
Yeah. After seeing this film, I feel there is no greater insult I can offer.
Imagine liking computer games, even recreationally.
Imagine being like the incredibly diverse market of people who enjoy video games, many of whom are women. Losers.
Women don't like video games, Paul. I haven't seen a single one since starting this podcast.
I haven't seen a single woman playing a game in any of these awful man-written movies from the 80s. Therefore, they don't exist.
Fuck me. How does this start, Paul? Well, Paul, it starts in the 80s, where popular culture was at its zenith.
Yes, that's when all the popular culture happened that you can enjoy today.
Yeah, remember the Smiths? Music's never recovered from that. Oh, imagine.
Remember in 1990 when all the good musicians threw all their instruments into a big fire?
Oh,
and then Kurt Cobain
yes,
came
of
along and
course.
was just like, I'm just going to suck for a few years now. And that was everything. That was the rest of time.
There's a lot of 80s stuff going on. I think there's a guy on like on a fixie or something.
Some guy's living in a council flat, which is, haven't seen the likes of that since the 80s.
There's the Toxteth riots.
Background.
Yeah.
Actually, the Toxteth riots are in it.
This was the beginning of it. They in order to aid the victims of the Toxteth riots.
Yeah.
Dan Aykroyd hosted a video game competition.
Yes.
To which young Adam Sandler, young Kevin James,
And
young Josh Gad, and young Peter Dinklage were
all
all invited.
Yeah.
There was a Comic-Con sort of thing going on, people walking around dressed up as things and playing video games, and then young Adam Sandler and young Peter Dinklage compete for the King of Kong.
Yeah. In the Donkey Dong. Tontapont.
Yes, King of Kong, Donkey Days, D-A-Z-E. Because both of them are very, very good at video games. Adam Sandler is very much a patterns man. He's a patternman.
Yeah.
He's like a maths whiz. So total nerd, virgin, obviously.
Yeah.
Disgusting 13-year-old virgin. Never
I
heard
hate
such
him
a thing.
so much. And yet also a misogynist. It's an unusual combination there to hit, but he manages it well.
Well, it was the 80s, Paul. You knew where you were. Men were men.
Women were pin-ups.
Yeah. Disgusting, delicious pin-ups with horrific opinions that thankfully no one ever heard.
I don't even
Peter
listen to a
Dinklage-
woman unless she has a staple in her navel.
And then it's silence. God, I'm so sad. And Peter Dinklage is there, and he's also a computer gamesman.
He wins.
He's not a patentsman. He's a rock and roll man.
Yeah.
And yes, he wins because he's better than Adam Sandler.
He is, and then they all grow up for 20 or 30 or however many years there are.
Yeah.
30 probably. 40?
yeah,
50? That's unreasonable. 50 years.
I don't know. A lot's happened. I mean, Kevin James is prime minister.
He's
Yeah.
Prime Minister of America. A lot has happened.
The second revolution, because Adam Sandler is still friends with President Kevin James.
Yes.
But he works for a company called. Sorry, just remember what it's called. Do you remember what it's called?
Isn't it called I'm a Sad Pathetic Loser and I Hate All People?
Yeah, it's called Total Fuck Up Limited. He works for a company called Nerd. It's an acronym, right? It's like New Electronics Radio Department, all the things that nerds like.
Ah.
And he's a fixer and installer type guy. He wears an orange uniform.
Yeah.
And he's pathetic because he was great at video games, and then he didn't even do that after Peter Dinklage beat him.
Yeah, it's like, what's the moral standard here? Is he pathetic because he doesn't play video games anymore, or because he started in the first place? It's like, he's a loser twice. So he shows up because Michelle Monaghan wants some electronic equipment installed in her house in order to distract her son from her horrific divorce from her husband. So
Michelle Monaghan is Michelle McMonaghan is lonely and therefore half a woman.
Yes. He shows up at her house, and it's weird because as he shows up, he's like, "Hey, I've got some electronic equipment for you. I've got like a PS4." And the CEO of Sony steps in from stage left and says, "Buy a PS4!" And then he just leaves.
Yeah.
It was weird. It's abstract. I liked it.
Adam Sandler, you know, they do that like SNL pause for the audience to finish applauding.
Yeah.
Where they like stare into middle distance like they're in an Edward Hopper painting. That happened until Sony San. So after he's done installing this thing, he goes up to, I don't know, get Michelle Monaghan to pay her dues, to pay for it, because bloody woman, stop not paying for things.
Yeah.
With your emotions.
All the time.
She's crying in a cupboard.
Yeah, in a closet.
I say cupboard.
Yeah, more like
In
a suite. More like a house by English standards.
The size of a London penthouse.
Which she's crying in. But they both have kind of a moment, and then he tries to like force unwanted affection on her, and she says, "Please don't do that." So he calls her a fucking snob.
Wow, I didn't peg you as the snobby type.
I am not a snob.
Hold that thought, snobby.
And he storms out, and he says, "You're a bitch."
Did you say fucking?
Yeah, I think so. And he pulls on her hair and like pushes her over, and then he runs away.
Oh.
He runs away into his nerd van because he's the hero.
You're a leather anyway, he says.
Lesbian. Then he gets up on some scaffolding. Then he climbs back down again and gets in his car.
And she, obviously being a woman, is like, "Oh, you got me." Yeah, whoops, guess I'm a monster. And there we go.
Well,
with it sorted that Michelle Monaghan is a monster.
Yes, she's going to work at overcoming that aversion to Adam Sandler throughout the rest of the film. I hope she succeeds. Oh, tension.
Hey, Paul, I also hope that all of the men in here get the romantic interest fulfilled.
The ones that they deserve.
Exactly. Anyway, they end up driving side by side.
Well, they've both been called to the White House. They both arrive at the White House, much to each other's chagrin. It turns out that Monaghan is a general in the army, and she's been called in because something weird has happened. A place has been attacked, and a US citizen's been abducted.
Yeah.
Which is all fucked up.
A lot of shit turned into pixels, weirdly.
Yeah. And both Kevin James, President Blart, and Adam Sandler recognize the sound effects of Gallagher.
Yeah.
On the attack footage.
Yeah, and Adam Sandler tries to explain this to the room of generals and advisors and security officials, and everybody basically thinks he's a nerd.
Fuck yeah, but you know what? They're all a bunch of tight asses, except the one who's a bloody woman.
Yeah.
He's got to take time to insult them for being tight asses and her for being a woman.
Ziggy Zag, is that the snobby term? Does she really get to talk twice? She's not even at the grown-ups table.
So they ignore him, and they want to try normal military tactics, but then the bloody Taj Mahal's attacked as well.
No, in the middle of an awkward proposal scene. Nobody knows why these things are attacking, except for one brave, heroic man, played by Josh Gad.
Yeah. Yes.
He's been hiding in Sandler's truck forever, and spying on the women that he's been seducing.
Yeah. Wait. Josh Gad, the comedic relief of the film.
Oh, is that what he is? Oh, brilliant.
Yes.
Oh, good.
You see, it was in brackets on the credits.
Oh, I look forward to his interactions throughout the film then.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
Brilliant.
Yeah, well, he tries to chloroform Adam Sandler to take him back to his apartment, implying that he has done that several times to other people.
Oh, wacky comic relief.
He explains, well, he has picked up a special sort of video that's coming from space.
A video that the aliens desperately needed all people to see, which is why they submitted it in a format that only a Josh Gad could pick up. The most credible person in America.
Definitely the most effective person in America. Have you seen his skills?
Yeah, does that mean he's going to be the only one picking up the transmissions in future? No, just anyone will get it.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway.
They've had the challenge laid down. And the challenge is, we are going to play a series of games against you. You already lost the Gallagher one by merit of all dying. So, meet us in this field in the middle of some fucking city that no one cares about at all. And we'll play another game. And if you win, great. If not...
Not great.
Not great at all. Bogus.
And they're like, "Ah, shit, where have we got to go?" And they're like, some place called London. But filmed in Toronto. Hyde Park, Toronto.
They flew in some hooligans.
Some American hooligans who have auditioned for SNL.
Ah, right then. Break your leg then, yeah?
They flew them in from Iowa.
Okay, yes. Yeah. We're just having a kickabout with me mates. Yes, some real Englishmen and Sean Bean. Anyway, they go to London Hyde Park, and they have to train some army men to fight like video game nerds do.
Because video game nerds have really good reflexes and really good anticipation and instincts, and they just don't teach you that kind of thing in the army.
No, there's very, very positive about video games to the detriment of literally everything else in the world, but that's okay because it's nice just to have some positive representation. So they scream at some army men who are 15 times bigger than them, and then they finally convince them, and they all start training on arcade games and things. Josh Gad slaps everyone's ass.
Yep, multiple times. Everyone's very uncomfortable, but it's funny because they're all men.
Imagine having feelings for another man.
Oh, God.
And they finally go to London, but... Oh, we didn't mention that Brian Cox is one of the army generals in the Situation Room.
The meanest one.
He hates nerds. He hates them.
It's because his son is one.
I was also going to make an X-Men joke, but I can't now.
Shit.
But we've got another general in the English army called Sean Bean, and he also hates nerds, and that could be for any of the things he's been in. James Bond, Game of Thrones, Ironclad.
Remember that?
Sharp.
Everyone does. Oh, those Sharp nerds. They're rough.
He spends most of his time fighting off Sharpie nerds, though, and it's infuriating.
I'm a bit of a Sharpie nerd. Look, I've got all the colours.
Don't even know what a pen is.
Never needed one.
Excuse me, teeth, literally everything.
Excuse me, Mr. Bean, can I have an autograph? Yeah, sure.
Tell
Thank you, Mr. Bean.
Rowan Sean says I. So yeah, but he also hates nerds.
Yeah, he does.
To an unreasonable degree.
Here's a cog. They all meet in the park. The centipedes attack. The army guys are rubbish at shooting them because they're just not anticipating where the enemy's going to be. They just don't do that in the army. They always, the thing is, terrorist insurgents, they're always like straight line at you. They don't do anything tricky like, going off to the side.
No, they're like the English in the Boer War.
Straight line, march slowly towards the enemy. It'll eventually work.
Comes down to the nerds.
Yes, they step in. They take up the light guns.
They save the day.
Yes.
We get the tired old trope of some sort of alien smashing through a window and an old person watching the TV and her being too deaf to know what's going on.
No, Paul. There's a good twist though, because the alien comes back and starts doing the exercise too for no reason, but it's cute and funny, and I loved it.
Shit!
It was so funny. What's that alien doing aerobics for? It's already thin.
I've never seen such a thing, Paul. Don't tell the populace that. They wouldn't stand for it.
No way.
Don't stand for it.
Don't tell the film critics. They'll fucking hate it. They hate fun.
They've never known it.
They fight off the invasion. They get to keep a trophy, which is the duck hunt dog, which goes and lives with the old lady, but nobody does anything about that.
Totally fine with that. There's going to be another round, just like in video games.
Yeah.
And this time, it's Backman. Wait. Dakmon.
It's Fakmon-chan, and he's going to be attacking New York. The Big Apple.
Noi Yoik.
Noi Yoik. If you can make it there, you can make it in New York.
Oh, Pac-Man's there. So, how are we going to beat him? We need ghosts. Ghosts, you say, says Michelle Monaghan. Come with me. Next scene, they've got 4 minis strapped to a thing. These are ghosts. Okay.
They eventually do defeat Pac-Man. But yes, Peter Dinklage
turns up. They get him to help and all these things because he's better than Adam Sandler. Yeah, he joins in. He's very good at getting around. Nobody can quite understand how he's getting from place to place so bloody quickly.
They have a ball. Oh, they got a pet. They got given Cubert as a pet. He's an adorable comic relief character who's really annoying.
Oh crap!
Then there's a ball. They all go to the ball. Sandler goes to the ball with Monaghan, or they're both there at the same time, and they have a moment, apparently, according to the music.
And Michelle Monaghan is finally stopping being such a fucking snob.
Yeah, a slobby snob.
Finally stopping being a slob, so Adam Sandler can finally fancy her.
She's wearing a bib, and she's put the silver fork down.
She's cleaned up all right.
Yeah, it's looking good.
And Adam Sandler's like, I suppose I can fall in love with you if I must.
I mean, you are pretty hot, which is literally probably the only thing I know about you, apart from the fact that I dislike everything else about you. So I'm willing to look. I'm willing to forgive you. Okay.
Thanks, Adam Sandler.
He's such a good guy.
No one's ever seen through all the utterly deplorable traits that I've had as a woman.
And notice that I am in fact hot.
They get another video from the aliens, this time playing as Max Headroom, I think. And they're like, hey, people of Earth, you fucking cheated, so you lose.
Yeah.
Your world is ours.
We're going to attack New York in the next sort of brightly lit opportunity to do so. Also, we're going to have someone. Oh, your son, Michelle Monaghan, because we've detected using our machines that he's important to the plot somehow. So he's ours.
Sure, go for it. But we'll just give him enough time to call out Peter Dinklage for cheating because on his shades he has the Pac-Man cheat codes. For speed, and that's also how he cheated at Donkey Kong.
Yes.
Paul, can you put in cheat codes into an arcade machine?
No. Also, what cheat code would make you better at fucking Donkey Kong? A button that makes you not get killed when you get hit by barrels? Everyone would notice that.
Probably.
A cheat code that makes your reactions better? That's pretty good.
I mean, that's speed.
That's what his slang word for cheating was. Is just
Cheating.
shooting up on speed.
All right, I admit it. I cheated.
I cheated so hard in the bathroom earlier.
So that's established because nobody realised that he was a cheat, and now the sun's gone. Michelle Monaghan is mildly sad about this.
Yeah.
But she still manages to get a few quips out in the ensuing battle because the aliens start to invade the planet.
In probably a very bright city that looks like Toronto.
So they're all coming down. It's kind of like the Avengers, but bad. And
Yeah.
they kill a number of video game people. There's is it the Little Ninjas who we all remember were created as a tie-in for the movie.
Yep, I remember that from the 80s.
They kill the Smurf from the Smurfs video game.
Love it. Yep,
From the
It's
80s.
famous video game. Just a quick thing. We're going to cover this real quick because it doesn't deserve really dwelling on for very long. Josh Gad the whole time had a crush on on a blonde woman from a video game in the 80s. He was obsessed with her and kept planning and trying to get her to life, and then she gets beaten down because she's a video game thing, and she tries to kill him. He gives a heartrending speech about how hot she is. She realizes how hot she is, becomes sentient, and decides to fight with Josh Gad.
Yes.
That's that for now. Meanwhile, on the alien ship, it's Donkey
Michelle
Kong.
Monaghan, Adam Sandler, and Kevin James, yes, all go and face up to Donkey Kong, Dr. Kong, who is throwing barrels.
Yeah.
And Cubert, obviously, because he couldn't go anywhere without Cubert.
No, he's there to be adorable.
He's a lovable scamp, and we love him, and he's comedic relief because Josh Gad is down thinking about having sex with a non-woman.
With someone who has only just become aware of her own existence. Yay. Donkey Kong is defeated, the aliens all go home, and that's the end of the movie, except for the fact that Cubert... all of the pixelated things went away, except for Cubert because he was a trophy... and they got trophies for winning, and so Cubert transforms into the hot chick for Josh Gad so that he can have a sexy lady at the end of the movie.
She's got a name, Paul.
What happened to lovable Cubert? Who gives a fuck?
Who knows?
She has a name, really? Yes, I think I remember them saying that once.
It was
Lady
Lisa.
Lady Lisa.
Bloody misogynist.
Yeah, what's wrong with me, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, Lady Lisa is a trophy for Josh Gad.
Yeah.
Yay!
Yeah. Oh, and Peter Dinklage not only gets to have sex with Serena Williams, but Martha Stewart. This is after Serena Williams walks out on him for being an incredible chauvinist, a colossal pig.
Yeah.
But because
No. But at that stage, he hadn't won a great victory.
Yes.
And therefore, he didn't deserve the spoils of war, which is the nation's greatest women.
Yeah.
Who must now, by obligation, offer themselves to the hero. For these are Viking times!
These are Sandler times.
The land of Sandler. A post-credit sequence reveals that, in fact, Josh Gad did have sex with the Cubert blonde chick, just in case you were wondering if that happened or not, and has now had some tiny Cubert kids.
Yes, which is just even fucking worse. No, let's be positive. It's the end of the film!
Yay!
What do you think, Paul?
Oh, I fucking hated it, Paul.
Oh, man, it was pretty much a piece of shit.
Yeah, it was really, really fucking annoying at almost every angle. It was a film that did not understand the source material. Pixels was originally a short film by Patrick Jean, and it's a very fun film in which a bunch of video game characters attack a bunch of landmarks. It's a good show-off of visual effects. There's really not much more to it, except for the fact that 80s nostalgia has recently become quite marketable. Thanks largely to the fact that the people who grew up in that decade are now getting to a age where they're in a lot of senior management positions in creative studios, and therefore we're getting stuff like Stranger Things, Guardians of the Galaxy, most of which are heartfelt, but undeniably sort of that's the era that's in.
Yeah.
Give it another decade, our generation will be in the sort of upper management levels.
The Take That biopic will come out.
Tamagotchi the movie will finally get made.
Do you know what, Paul? They'll finally make a Pokemon movie.
Oh,
waiting
finally!
forever for one of those.
Oh, God.
So they took that, and it was made by people who I don't think have ever played video games.
No.
Spoken to a woman. Or had any sort of interaction with another human being at all.
Yeah. I was counting the sort of times that the culture that the film is meant to be sort of homaging was actually directly insulted, like nerd culture, gaming culture. Create a little tally. I only managed to count 12 direct
that's not
insults. That's not many.
That's
I mean,
not
considering
bad.
you're making a movie celebrating video game culture, only insulting them 12 times is fine.
You can't make an omelette without without
insulting a
breaking
nerd.
a few nerds. Yeah.
Let's just talk about the fact that the film does not understand video games, because aside from things like cheat codes not being relevant, a Smurf showing up for no reason, the advice he gives is terrible to the soldiers and stuff. It's like, okay, centipede. Oh no, asteroids he's training them in. Like, okay, in asteroids, got to shoot all the rocks and don't get hit.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the rules of asteroids, but like techniques include not holding down the direction key, just tapping it to move, and shooting like a big rock, then all of the small rocks it breaks into before shooting the next big rock to minimize the number of particles on screen. He doesn't say he never says anything insightful about the game, because nobody who wrote it knew anything insightful about the games.
No, they could have picked up any retro zine about arcade games from the 80s.
Yeah.
Read the first couple of sentences and gone, okay, I know everything there is to know about Gallagher. The big moment for me was when they were playing The Last of Us and having a discussion about that. And I thought, this could be a great opportunity to get into what's immersive and what's really great about new games as well. And maybe later they'll have a proper sort of thing about that. I don't know whether it's about individualism or just something.
How the art form has evolved. How about that?
Yeah.
Just, wow, you're able to tell stories with this medium now. Because picking The Last of Us, one of the best games of all time, is, a big choice.
Yes.
So the fact that the only conclusions he reaches from picking it up or watching a few minutes of it is, it's so violent.
Yeah.
And I don't see, it looks like chaos. Like the things your grandmother would say about watching a video game.
And if that was the point, it wasn't obvious. And because I mean, it was terribly written. But I was really hoping for, an ending where, say, if they were on the Donkey Kong level, maybe it turns into something a bit more obviously modern. Maybe there's an over-the-shoulder point of view, or just something grittier, or something a bit sort of more emotionally engaging, or just I mean, I would have killed for something in this film to have been more emotionally engaging, but it just didn't wrestle with the concept or the themes at all. It was just a setting. I had a really interesting dichotomy going on with this film, because as I was watching it, I was like, well, this isn't as bad as Jack and Jill or Grown Ups 2. It was like a Trojan horse, where I finished the film and I went, okay, well, that had a bit of a no. It was like about an hour later, like all of the horrible shit that I've been experiencing that had been like force fed into me throughout.
That's interesting that it had a sort of
finally came out
delayed release, because I was sending messages to you during. I was thoroughly off put by every moment.
You were furious.
I had to pause several times during this film to just be irritated. I can't imagine the experience of watching it in the cinema. But again, it's the Grown Ups 2 thing, which is, I wouldn't be so annoyed by this if there weren't a whole bunch of people out there. And throughout the whole film, I just imagined a guy behind me. Just a guy who, every time something happens, every time Sandler says something demeaning to Monaghan, or insults nerds, or insults Kevin James for being clumsy or fat, or anything, I just imagine him going,
fuck, brilliant.
And it made me angry, because people like this, and they take their kids to it.
This made a lot of money.
A lot of money.
It's just, even if it just wasn't fucking horrible towards women and nerds and like the supposed heroes of the game, the movie, sorry.
Yeah.
It's so lazy. And Adam Sandler is so fucking lazy in it. He's so cynically shit.
Yeah.
He's delivering these lines in that that monotone he has.
I guess I thought of you were going to be like one of those hot when we first met in high school, but then let herself go and got a pot belly and turkey neck with the hairy chin.
Doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Nobody gives a fuck. It's just another Adam Sandler film where he gets an attractive woman to come round to his the horrible shit he says. They get a couple of well-known actors to come in and embarrass themselves and make everyone feel sad, and then just plays products throughout.
Yeah,
that's all it is.
It was particularly infuriating in this instance because there were so many opportunities where they came this close to saying something. Like the moment where Josh Gad, the object of his affections disappears in front of his eyes. There was the potential there to say, my obsession wasn't real. She wasn't real. And I realise that now because I've just seen her disappear before my eyes. And so I need to move on And actually, maybe she wasn't that great. Maybe you've been lusting after her all your life, and she appears, and she has no personality. She doesn't say anything. She's just, a hot chick in a tight uniform. Maybe, and there's nothing more to her because there can't be, because that's the way she's programmed. And maybe
she's a fantasy.
And he realizes, holy crap, I projected all this shit onto you. There's nothing there. I need to find someone who can actually surprise me. Yes. It would have just taken the teeniest bit of conviction to not contrive for another character to morph into her.
As soon as they said, "Oh, we only get to keep the trophies," that shame, my heart shifted into shame because I just knew what was going to happen.
Yeah.
As soon as Monaghan said that, it was like, "Oh, of course, she's going to become a trophy now. Brilliant."
Yeah.
It was disgusting.
It really was. And another moment, Cubert is an alien, right? He's one of the aliens who is attacking, who they call traitor, even though the trophy system was clearly set up, so that doesn't make any fucking sense. But he's one of the alien race. One of their great warriors, they say. And they don't fucking do anything with him. He's just cute. No. They don't speak to him. They don't ask him questions. But on one of the occasions in which he just voluntarily offers some of vital information, nobody was asking for it. He just fucking did it. He says, "Oh, my homeworld is no fun. They only know war there. They only know conflict." Ooh. Okay, that's interesting. So, they only know conflict. Maybe games could be a good method of negotiating peace. And maybe it's a good commentary on how video games shouldn't all be violent. Because yes, maybe if you did only have video games to go off of Earth culture, you would think we were very warlike, because most of our games are. What a great opportunity to say something and maybe have a conclusion to this movie that's not fucking cynical. No, they just killed Donkey Kong. I guess Donkey Kong was the leader. They kill him. Off they go.
Sorry, Paul, you are sounding like a nerd now. I'm going to have to stop you there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Tits?
Oh, that's better, yeah.
Yeah, tits.
No, you're completely right. Completely and utterly right. It just needed something. It just needed some fucking brain in there.
Oh, Paul, some substance, you fucking film critic.
Oh, I hate myself now.
See what we did?
Yeah, shit. I see what I've done because I've watched the film and I've just come to the completely fucking obvious reaction.
I think,
fuck me.
If it didn't get so close to saying something, I wouldn't be so annoyed. If it was just dumb, but there's just so many opportunities, it just misses because it doesn't care.
Well, it doesn't just miss; it swerves completely into the opposite camp.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't even begin to think where to fix this properly. But I think this doesn't need Adam Sandler or Kevin James. I'd have made Josh Gad the main character and made it more about his relationship with the real world and make him the hero doing all of this stuff. But he's also got this Lady Lisa thing, so we can start we can grow with him. And
he simultaneously learns that there's more to life than gaming, whilst also learning that gaming, in addition to being just a way of spending his spare time, of which he has too much, it can also be a really great tool of bonding people, which is apparently something Sandler feels, because at one point he talks about how great the arcades were as another dig to people who play video games, although not too much, because buy PS4, everyone. Buy it. Mm-hmm. But, arcades, also, they were a place you could go and meet cute girls, apparently.
Great. Well, then, in that case, have a fucking lady geek in the main cast.
Yes.
Just do it. Have one, at least. And not Michelle Monaghan, who has been, anti all of that for a long time, but is just sort of warming to it because scripts. Have a fucking lady geek in the original lineup.
A bit of representation to demonstrate the demographics, which are actually quite diverse these days.
Yeah, I don't know, but it's just another Adam Sandler movie. It's an all boys club. Women are trophies.
Yeah,
nerds are weird. Fat guys are weird. Old people are weird. Foreign people are weird still, and it's just still. I liked some things. For all of Josh Gad's the problems with his character, I thought Josh Gad himself was great in it. I thought he was very good. He
had his moments where he wasn't saying really nasty shit, and I quite liked it.
Yeah. His delivery and his actual performance, I thought was good. It was just his character was very problematic.
I would just offer that conversely, Peter Dinklage did seem to completely understand the material he was given, and he played it as obnoxiously as it's written, and that's not a good thing for me.
Gods, get me out of here! It's that mean centipede killer. I hope he don't zap me with his space gun.
No, I mean, his accent.
What the
I mean, it made me feel like a racist.
Yeah, I felt really uncomfortable.
This is why I don't think I can have Brenner on my team. You want the Fire Blaster's help? He has some demands.
Ugh.
I mean, this is probably the worst thing Peter Dinklage has ever done.
Yeah, fuck anyone who complains about Destiny. This is the worst. This is the worst one. That's all there is to it, really. Quickfire. The credit tracks with the kid. Like the kid cycling down the street, and the credit like sticks around him.
16-bit graphics.
Yeah, which is nice and colourful.
Yeah. There was with the young Kevin James. It turns out that he's very good at operating a crane.
Right.
Machine. The claw. And when they're all playing their video games earlier in the arcade, he wins a Chewie mask, and in the next scene he comes in stage left or whatever, and he's wearing it, and it was a really nice cut from that last scene to the next. Yeah, it was good.
Cool. This isn't necessarily a good thing, but that kid really looks like Adam Sandler, including the sort of really foul smirk. I don't know if that kid like studied the more gross Sandler stuff in order to get it down, but yeah.
Hey kid, you fucking got it. Shame you got a small penis.
And then all the crew are laughing at him, especially Kevin James, who's just like crying with laughter. He just can't stop. It's actually becoming a problem. We've got to try and do something about Kevin James, guys. Maybe we should get the small penis kid to help him.
Amazing. Wow. Anthony Ippolito, you're a star.
Your turn.
I like the dual screen versus mode as the two were playing each other in the arcade competition. I thought that was quite a cool shot. It was the two of them like in an old like Street Fighter style versus screen.
Okay.
With bits of the game shooting past them while their scores go up, and that was cool. One of the things that was missing from this was that I wanted playing video games to be cool. Like it feels cool to be playing video games sometimes. You know, you can watch movies or Stranger Things or something, and you're like, yeah, that's fucking cool playing a video game. But this film was missing that utterly, entirely.
Yeah,
and
it missed
this
the
was
joy.
The one time where, this is the one time where it almost felt cool and like dangerous to be playing video games.
Yeah, you might get a little glimpse of what the characters actually like about it in the first place. Oh, the guy, what's Peter Dinklage's nickname? The Fire something?
The Fire Blaster?
That's the one. Someone like makes fun of it, and young Peter Dinklage says, "Hey, it's not funny. It's totally tubular." And what I like about that is that the two girls in his entourage looked at each other and nodded after he said that. It's like they both looked at each other and agreed, yes, it is tubular.
Indeed. The first minute that we get between adult Sandler and James was a minute of decent acting, because it was very buttoned down, and they were just talking about something that we weren't aware of yet, but they were both kind of fed up about it, and they looked tired and they looked like old men, and the voices were really measured and leveled. Yeah, it was good. And then they turn around and they watch Kevin James embarrassing himself on live TV, and Sandler does actually go, ah!
Yeah, and then he says something mean to James, and a couple of his Secret Service guys laugh. And that's the first time I noticed something, which I think I'm going to try and keep track of in future Sandler endeavors.
Ooh.
Sandler quite often, or the creative people around Sandler, put characters in the film to laugh at Sandler's zingers. Like, I noticed this a lot, because it happens later when he's at the sort of ball. He makes a joke, or like he insults someone, and it cuts to the fucking kid who's on the opposite side of the room, who goes, when Dan Aykroyd says at the competition, well, how about some Donkey Kong? And he pulls a face to go with his Donkey Kong thing, of kind of just raised eyebrow, as if to say, that's right. I know you've all been waiting for this. It's Donkey Kong.
Even though nobody was.
Hey kids, how about a little Donkey Kong?
Oh, balls.
Aykroyd!
When Adam Sandler comes up to Michelle Monaghan's house, he has like a catchphrase that he has to say as part of his, like a slogan that he has to say for his company. And the kid's like, oh, do you have to say that to every house that you go to? And he's like, yeah. And he says, isn't that demeaning? Only if someone brings it up. That alone would have been a nice little tight thing. But then they hang so many hats, lampshades.
A whole cupboard on it. I like that I've got my thought process written down here, because I was writing as I was watching. And
Okay.
as Sandler goes in to kiss Monaghan, I've written, "Oh, I'm glad the kiss was wrong," but then shaming her, and it's true. Like my outrage sort of progresses, and my handwriting gets worse as I go along.
When she says that she's in the closet crying and drinking, Adam Sandler goes, something I do often also, in a very crap way.
Right.
And it was like a good, like, I don't have any emotional investment in this in this other person.
Right.
You almost believe that was it and not just in the role itself. It felt like it was in film non-investment.
Yeah. Incidentally, I'm about to mention something that happens in the White House just before this moment. I just want to point out how obnoxious Sandler is. Monaghan thought that any minute now, Sandler's going to get phased out by security. And so the guard says to Monaghan, "Okay, the Joint Chiefs of Staff are this way." And she's like, "Thank you." And then the guy says to Sandler, "The president is waiting for you this way." And she turns in shock, and Sandler takes this opportunity to do his shitty high voice that we all love.
Somebody's more important.
Anyway, then he walks into the Oval Office, and it's actually a really beautiful set. It looks like the West Wing Oval Office. It looks great.
There is actually, just after he does that annoying voice and then he moonwalks, out of the room, he stops. Like, it's somebody else's legs, much in the way of Jack and Jill doing that dance. And it's obviously somebody else's legs because they're really thin, lean, sculpted legs doing this moonwalk. And then it cuts back up to his face next to the security guard, and he says, "Freddie, could you keep the riffraff out?" And then the camera stays static, and Adam Sandler continues to moonwalk, but all you see is his head just moving on a level out of the room.
Yeah.
Which was good.
That's good. One of the early Josh Gad lines is that he hasn't. I think it's something like, "I haven't had a cell phone since they caught me. Since I found out that they forged the Zapruder film." Then he says,
Right.
"They forged the Zapruder film. JFK shot first," which is a really good line. It's a really funny idea that JFK was shooting at his assassins first, and they retaliated and killed him.
Yeah.
It's a lovely melding of the Han Solo thing and JFK conspiracies that I really liked.
Yeah, awesome. There is also another Josh Gad line when I think Adam Sandler says that he's looking pretty good, and he's like, "Thanks, I'm on an all-protein diet, but I'm also doing carbs."
Yeah.
and they don't draw attention to it at all. I also like maybe you can include this just to prove my amazing point, but I really like the delivery of Josh Gad screaming at his mum, because he starts softer then it escalates into screaming quite quickly and nicely.
No, Grandma, it's funny. I didn't get a chance to because what happened? Oh, I remember now. I'm trying to save the world from annihilation. Are you nuts? You cracker!
Just another bit of Josh Gad.
A little Josh Gad bit.
Josh Gad tells Michelle Monaghan that she smells so nice like the Book of Genesis. Which is another good line, despite being inherently creepy.
I don't know if Gad was improvising any of this. Because of this film, Sean Bean and Brian Cox got to hug at least once. I don't know how many times they filmed that, but just imagine a wonderfully awkward or perhaps lovely behind-the-scenes moment of just veteran British actors Sean Bean and Brian Cox embracing in fear. And that makes me quite happy to know that happened.
I imagine that Adam Sandler filmed it 58 times and laughed harder with every single take.
But they had each other to... increasingly, the hugs became more authentic because they were actually hugging to try and get through the experience.
We can beat him, Brian.
Oh, I don't know, Beanie.
Yes, because he's also English. That's the craziest thing to me.
Oh, yeah. Actually, Brian Cox is a pretty hardcore character actor, so he would have said,
"Yeah,
you watch who you're dressing, son!" He'd have said, "I think I'm the same rank as you in this army. Shut the fuck up, son! Hug me!"
Again, I've just got a list of Josh Gad things. When he offers his hand
The one Josh Gad
he offers
thing.
his
The
hand
one Gad thing!
The one... Oh my
yeah!
God. Let's call this the one Gad thing about pixels. Let's do it. Fuck yeah. Oh shit, yeah.
What was your next Gad thing?
Well, my next Gad thing was when he's introduced to Michelle Monaghan just before smelling her and telling her she smells so nice like the Book of Genesis. He offers his hand to shake, and it's in that very limp way of just offering the hand, like 18th century to be kissed by a courting gentleman. That was good on it by itself, but it continues into the next shot without drawing attention to it at all. They're having a conversation, and all you've got is Josh Gad's hand coming from right screen,
Yeah.
just limply hanging in Michelle Monaghan's hand.
Right.
And it's a very good continuation.
Cool. I have a Gad thing, which is that he sings everybody wants... Is it everyone or everybody wants to rule the world? Everybody wants to rule the world. Human League?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was a really good performance.
Yeah, he sings it really well.
Tears for Fears.
Tears for Fears, of course it is. He sings that really well. And I know that was improvised because he was originally meant to just tussle around with the orchestra, and it was a last-minute decision to sing, probably because he demonstrated that he's really good at singing. So, yeah really good.
Oh shit, we've got a good performer here, everyone.
This guy has some talent. Oh.
Yeah. Oh.
There's talent on this movie?
Okay.
Well, film it, I guess. We'll use it somehow. It won't make any sense, but fuck, we should probably include some.
Yeah.
Michelle Monaghan just sheepishly walks in. I can actually act. No,
don't do that.
do what you were doing before. Peter Dinklage walks over and says, "Not now. Don't trouble them. It's okay. I can get you on Game of Thrones."
You like playing hookers, right?
You die.
Ooh, hookers. That's not very PC, is it? Ooh, sorry, everyone. Sex worker.
Yeah, that's better. But you were talking about it in the context of Game of Thrones, so it's like...
And Peter Dinklage.
You're talking about it in the context of that fucking monster. Peter Dinklage.
Look, can I just get through the next two Gad things I've got?
Oh, for fuck's sake. Okay. For Gad's sake.
Again, it's another...
Oh my Gad.
Oh, for Gad's sake. God damn it. It's a Gad-awful film.
I was waiting for you to start your couple of Gad things, but you were thinking of another Gad pun. Gad Almighty.
For the first one is another creepy one, again to Michelle Monaghan. He says, "I met you once before, but you won't recognise me because I was watching you from the back of a van through a window." Mm. And again, it's delivered in a very good Gad. It's delivered in a very Gad way. I don't even try anymore.
I really liked Pat-Man's creator speech, as read by not Pat-Man creator.
Yes.
His speech was lovely, where he appealed that, Pat-Man was a good boy and that he credited him for love.
Yeah.
And he's gone wrong. It was really nice and sweet, and then it turned into a dumb moment.
My final one before we talk about the one good thing is... Oh, it's a Josh Gad line. That's weird.
Oh, no.
He speaks to not the creator of Pac-Man. He's saying he's like arigato, domo, yoroshiku onegaishimasu, and I think
says hello about 5 times basically.
Yeah, just different incarnations. And Adam Sandler goes, "Do you speak Japanese?" And Josh Gad just goes, "No."
Yeah,
and then that's it.
It was the linger that got me. It lingered on him for a few seconds after he said that.
Yes, exactly.
I think then the last thing to say about this is that during the sort of destruction of New York at the end, I was thinking of Transformers and I was thinking of some of the sort of lazier Marvel conclusions and thinking about how it usually just turns into cities falling down and there's grey everywhere and there's, smoke and everything's really drab. This film is really colourful. It's got a very bright colour palette, which it is borrowing from better films, as we'll talk about shortly. But at the very least, it's a very bright and energetically created film. And the special effects look pretty good. Not real, of course, but they're not meant to look real. They're meant to look like sort of updates of classic arcade characters, and it looks good.
Yeah. Weirdly, being obvious CGI video game characters, it looked a lot more believable than a lot of CGI did.
Yes, because it's meant to not look right, I think, is the idea. It's when things are trying to look real that you get the uncanniness of them. When they're sort of big and bright and over the top, then that's quite natural.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very cool.
That was the quickfire. Now let's talk... Oh, did we get anything from the OG team?
From the OG team?
OG team.
We got a couple. Michael Clancy at Clancy Hi-Hat said, "It reminds me of the far superior episode of Futurama that it ripped off."
Yes, that was really good.
They do it in 10 minutes. It's very clever.
Yeah.
But, of course, Adam Sandler had to work in all that product placement and, got to get Dan Aykroyd shaming himself somewhere.
No mean feat.
Blokebusters podcast. Blokebusters said, after much prevaricating, that Pac-Man looked okay.
He looks fine.
Do you know what? I'll take it. As well as recommending us the next worst Adam Sandler movie that we should do, the Movie Pass Pod. The Movie Pass Pod said, it wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen. So some really rousing stuff going on.
That's beautiful.
Thank you, OG team.
All right, let's talk about the one better thing. The one better thing.
I want to talk about a good video game film. A good video game documentary. The 2007 King of Kong, directed by Seth Gorgon. Gorgon? Yes, Seth Gorgon. Seth Zordon.
Seth Cthulhu.
That's the one. Directed by Seth Gordon Cthulhu, double-barreled. Old money. About a guy called Steve Wiebe who's attempting to break the world high score for Donkey Kong, which was held by reigning champion Billy Mitchell. Mo! Oh, Mo, don't do this to me, Mo. You know, that one. It's amazing, frankly. Looking at the competition between these two men, there's some stunning character assassination and a real in-depth look at the same tactics that Sandler mentions, the patterns, the mathematics involved in beating the game. But it's so gripping because it's about the human aspect of it all. These two incredible, larger than life, or maybe smaller than life in one respect, characters, their different reasons for playing, the joys, the cheating, the self-aggrandizing. It's all in there, and it's way tenser and funnier, and it's more exciting than Pixels because of it. Yeah. Anyone would enjoy this, regardless of the time you spend playing computer games, because A, you don't need to know anything about computer games to enjoy it, and B, it's about the humans playing them.
Lovely. Okay, Paul, but if we're talking about movies that affectionately borrow the iconography of classic video games, but actually have something to say about the medium, and also love and life, and is genuinely funny and well acted by an amazing cast, and is extraordinarily exciting and inventive in its cinematography and editing, well, perhaps we should talk about Scott Pilgrim vs. the World.
Oh, yeah. Probably that one.
Worth a mention. Edgar Wright's 2010 romantic comedy action film about a guy named Scott Pilgrim who takes on the world so that he can win the chance to be with a girl. But this one's not creepy. It's not like Pixels because she wants to. It's like a metaphor for she's being controlled. But okay, it's fine. It's fine. Just watch the movie. It's fine.
Trust me.
Yeah,
she's not a trophy.
It's definitely not. I'm pretty sure it's fine. It's also great. So that. But you might be thinking, oh, well, I'm sorry we can't all be Edgar Wright, the most inventive and intuitively stylish directors of the 21st century. Well, fine. How about at least being Goosebumps? Goosebumps is a 2015 movie that stars Jack Black as R.L. Stein, the actual author of the Goosebumps series of books. The monsters of Stein's books start emerging from the books. And books. I didn't realize I said books so many times in this paragraph. Books!
We love books.
All the books.
Read a book.
Read a book, then watch Goosebumps. All the monsters come real and start terrorizing the whole town, very much like the Pixels from Pixels. It's pretty scary, but in a kid-friendly way, which I not only like, but actually think is pretty important for kids to have. And it's also funny for the most part. There's some broad stuff, but also some really funny lines and situations and characters, and it's endearing with some actual positive relationships that aren't creepy for the most part. And it actually seems to like and respect and fucking know about its subject matter, namely Goosebumps books. So it's got that going for it too. Also Wreck-It Ralph. Also
Futurama's Anthology of Interest episode.
Number 1.
Cool.
That was the one better thing. The one better thing. Thank you for listening to One Good Thing.
Yeah, thanks for taking the trip into virtual reality with us.
While you're there. First VR episode.
You've got to buy the OGT visor, though. It's very expensive.
It's very prohibitively expensive.
And there's only one. Fight for it. But once you put that on, wander into our webosphere, and while you're there, go visit our beautiful Mind Palace that the Pool Boys have created, where we keep all the good reviews. Why not leave one yourself? Then swing by Twitter at OGTPod,
Slap back your face back, says Mark Zuckerberg. Yeah. Hey baby, can I get your Facebook? Uh-oh, face back attack.
Uh-oh. That's how that goes. Anyway, you can reach us there at /OGTPod, like in virtual reality.
Yeah.
Please spread the word, leave these reviews. We've got a couple of really, really lovely ones recently. It's been really nice to see.
Yeah.
Also, we are still moving to Podbean. It will be available on Podbean and Buzzsprout for the time being, but consider this your penultimate warning. But with Podbean, you can download the app and you can follow us. It's a great platform. We can interact with people, and hopefully we'll be able to do more with it soon. Now, we have also been busy little pool boys recently. We've been on Baby Beard's Futurama podcast, Shut Up and Take My Podcast.
Yep.
Where we discuss the episode Time Keeps on Slipping.
Fuck yeah.
With a little musical number at the end, as has become the custom now.
Apparently.
So go and check that out. the Baby Beard Boys and lady
Oh, yes.
now.
Good stuff.
They're on top form.
Yeah.
And you were also on Cinema Bushido.
Yes, I was, talking about Versus. Yeah, go check that out. It's a slice of craziness from 2001. My optimal period.
For everything. Sexual, culinary,
It was my...
technological.
We don't talk about my sexual culinary skills. People don't like it when I serve them up a lovely cock.
Coq à la flambe.
Coq del forne. Fuck does
Coq au
that
vin,
mean?
not the one you're thinking of.
Coco cock.
Excellent. On that note, my literary novel Doghead is available on Amazon for $5.99 in paperback, and the jingles from episodes 1 to 50 are available on Bandcamp at ogtpod.bandcamp.com. If you want to support the show in any way, that's probably your best bet.
Yeah. My reviews are on Screen Mayhem. I don't mention cock as much in them, so you probably want to give them a miss then.
Imply the cock.
I imply the cock when talking about Phantom Thread, as does Daniel Day-Lewis.
Perfect.
I'm Paul Salt.
I'm Paul Goodman.
And remember, one good thing about Pixels is it's a little bit brighter than the usual drab shit.